We made like a word cloud of all the words in these books, of like the most frequent ones. I'm pretty sure the #1 word of the entire series would be embroidery.
Yes, embroidery.
Everything's embroidered. It has fine embroidery.
Everything's embroidered. Hello friends, Brianna here. Welcome to another video. I have a special guest here, my boyfriend Justin, who's great.
Yay.
He's so excited to be here. Today we're going to be talking about our thoughts on Wheel of Time so far. This is our first time ever reading this classic fantasy series. We are 10 books in, so we have 4 left. So I thought we would do a video where we just talk about our thoughts so far and like our predictions and all that stuff. And then after we finish the series, we will come back and do another video and give our finalized thoughts once it's all wrapped up. Do you feel awkward?
There's a lot.
There's so much. We've been reading this for a little over a year now. We started the first book a little over a year ago.
Yes.
We only read them when we like have time to sit down and read together. It's like we'll just sit down and read together and we read to the same point every time, which is really nice, but it's also slow because we don't always have time to sit down and read together. So it's taken us a year, but that's fine. Hopefully it doesn't take us another year to finish. We've been going a lot faster lately.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on Wheel of Time so far?
I mean, I think we're doing good so far. I mean, we kind of go back and forth on whether or not we like characters.
Yeah.
They kind of swing from book to book.
It's true, it's true.
And then they disappear.
Yeah.
And then they come back.
One of my least favorite things that Robert Jordan does is his world is so vast that he has so many characters that he'll go an entire book leaving out like 1 or 2 of the main characters. Not like side characters who are at the forefront, like the main characters. There's like your 6 main characters. There's your 3 boys and your 3 girls, and they're at the forefront of this story. And sometimes you'll go a whole book or 2 without mention of one of them.
Because they're usually in 6 different places.
Yes.
The 6
but
of
it's
them
just
are never together.
It's a little bit frustrating.
It's usually like a book or 2 where your characters are spread up, and then in this we have gone like 4 books where I think 2 of the main 6 characters are together and everybody else is in 4 different places.
It's not my favorite, especially when one of those characters happens to be my favorite character at the time. When the series started, I think my favorite was Perrin at the very, very beginning. Perrin was my favorite for the first like couple of books, and not that I don't still love Perrin, because I do, but Matt has definitely taken the forefront for me as favorite character. Rand has never been at the front.
Who ever likes the main character?
I mean, I usually do. I'm usually that basic
Nobody's
bitch who's like, I love Harry Potter.
Yeah. It's not true.
No, Harry was never my favorite, but Harry was like one of the characters I related to most, because I feel like you don't actually get like enough of Rand in the beginning when he's still just like this innocent farm boy who's being taken on this adventure.
So he took that book off.
He took that book off. The book where we should have gotten so much of Rand at the beginning wasn't really in the book until the very end. And then after that, he's crazy. And so it's it's really interesting to like have the back and forth with him and with Luz there and in his head, but I mean, he's not my favorite character yet. Maybe he'll come to be by the end. My favorite right now.
I don't know. I probably still like Perrin.
Perrin's your favorite?
I like Perrin and his wolf problems.
I do. That's why he was my favorite in the beginning. I just loved the wolf stuff. I still do. I like that he's finally coming to like accept it and like rely on it. Not enough. We're 10 books in and boy is still struggling, but he's finally coming to terms with the fact that he's got wolf problems.
He has a lot of wolf problems. He doesn't like to talk about his wolf problems.
Do you have a favorite out of the girls?
Probably Elaine.
Elaine's your favorite?
Yeah.
She's definitely gotten more interesting now that she's kind of got her own storyline.
The least dramatic.
They're all so dramatic. I think right now my favorite is Egwene, actually. Just because...
She's the most dramatic.
Yeah, but she's actually... The thing is, I feel like she's actually like grown the most.
Behind me. There's a cat right here.
Jasna. That's Jasna. I think the girls especially haven't shown a lot of growth in 10 whole books. I'm sure if I went back and reread the series, I would see more instances where they are like having character development. And like I said, I don't mean like power-wise. Obviously, they've elevated quite a lot on the 1 power scale. But yeah, like Nynaeve and Elaine especially, like in the early books, they were constantly like bickering with each other, and there was just like no personal development. Like, you know, they're stuck in that like same mindset. And finally, Elaine has started to come out of it. And we haven't been getting a lot of Nynaeve's like point of view lately.
Nynaeve's like if the entire Twilight series was shoved into another book series, like her whole character arc is I gotta get a man. And then she got her man, And now she's done.
Yeah, I just...
She's done now.
I really like Nynaeve too. But ever since, like, Lan came back, like, there's been...
She got her man.
Like, there's been nothing
Whenever we see Nynaeve, it's just, oh, what's Lan up to? And like, why is she freaking out about Lan? And...
Even the big moment at the end of whichever book that was, book 9, when, like, her and Rand cleansed the thing together, like, she's not even really part of it. Like,
she's just there.
She's just there.
The one gimmick was, like, she was the strongest one, and now they have, like, that random Shan girl hanging out with them who's apparently way stronger than her, so she doesn't even have that anymore.
Yeah,
like
and they keep, like, Olivia.
Olivia,
I think it's Olivia.
With an
A. Yeah, Olivia with an A.
Like, oh, she's even stronger than Nynaeve, so we don't need her anymore.
No,
she's just there.
It's frustrating. I feel like Nynaeve, I hope she comes back to the forefront, because I really like her character.
One of the sea folk people is supposed to be stronger than Nynaeve.
Yeah, they've been mentioning a lot lately how, like, oh...
That's how they compare them. They're like, oh, she's stronger than Nynaeve.
Yeah, they were like, well, Nynaeve was the strongest, but now there's this person, this person, this person. And it's like, that's great, but those aren't our main characters. I don't care about those people. Like, I care about Nynaeve and, like, all the things she's been doing with healing. But now she's not
terrible is going to happen with those characters. They're probably just like, oh, they're stronger than Nynaeve, and then they're just going to get blown up just as an excuse to show how strong something else is.
Probably.
They're going to get dwarfed.
Probably. I think the reason Egwene's my favorite right now is just because I feel like she's shown a lot of character growth. Because, like, all that time she spent with the, God, I never say it right. In my head I always call it the ale, but I think it's Aiel, how they call them.
No.
I've heard people say it in YouTube videos, and they pronounce it Aiel, and I've always pronounced it ale, and I realize that way makes more sense, not mine, but whatever. But all the time she spent with them, like, she definitely learned a lot and grew a lot out of, like, her own, like, small town minded ways, you know? Whereas I feel like Nynaeve hasn't had a lot of that growth. And Elaine has started to grow in the past few books because she's kind of got her own storyline going now that she's back in Camlin and trying to become queen.
Politics.
Yeah, now that she's got her own little thing going on, and it's like Nynaeve's just now in the background, like doing nothing. Bitch, come back. Egwene's my favorite right now just because I feel like she's grown the most character-wise, and she's had this whole like arc with like trying to show the other Aes Sedai that she's like not a fucking puppet. Like she's like, I am the fucking Amarillan, and you're gonna respect that. And she's been super like maneuvering sneakily with like all the other ones who are like on her side and have sworn fealty to her against the ones who are like are pretending to just like use her as a puppet, and they think that like she's in their pocket. That's been an interesting arc.
I feel like the actual books are set up in a way to undermine that though, because they constantly are like, hey look, Egwene knows what she's doing and she's good at stuff now, and then they're like, oh also she's getting head rubs from the most evil person around every night. Like, they just throw that in there. They're like, oh yeah, look how good she's doing at all this stuff, and she's got a headache. We gotta go over here and get a head rub from one of the fucking Forsaken.
Yeah, like, that's been going on for a while.
I know, it's been like 3 books of that.
Yeah.
It's like...
And now she's been, like, taken, right? That's what happened at the end of the last one.
Oh yeah.
Because she went in place of Bode or whatever her name was.
People get kidnapped a lot.
Yeah, they do get kidnapped a lot.
We'll find out what happens 3 books from now.
So yeah, right now we're at the end of book 10. We have not started book 11 yet. So that's where we're at in the timeline. And if you're watching this video, don't give me spoilers for how it ends. We're gonna get there.
Someday.
Any predictions on like what you think's gonna happen with any of the characters or plot lines, or?
I don't know what the hell's gonna happen with Egwene now, because yeah, she was supposed to be dealing with these head rubs from these evil people. Now she got kidnapped by other evil people.
Yeah.
We still gotta have Perrin kill everybody, which is
I know. I was
fucking wild.
I was really like, obviously I wasn't excited when they kidnapped his wife. Squirrel.
Squirrel.
I'm actually a dog.
Why we can't film in front of an open window.
What was I saying?
Still a cat up there? Perrin killing everyone?
Oh yeah. When they took his wife, I was like, oh yes, I'm so excited for Perrin to just go fucking crazy and murder everyone. That's not really Perrin's way, but like, you took his wife,
you know,
like
the end of book 7 or something?
Yeah, and then after that, we went a whole book without him, and we're like, yeah. But bitch's wife has been taken.
He's gonna kill everybody, and
the
then he just wasn't in that book, and then
he wasn't in it, and I was like, we finally got back to him.
A book of just following them.
We finally got back to him.
Then they found them, and now there's like, I don't know what to do about it. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's fair. Like, I respect that he's taking it, like, he's being logical and smart about it. But I was just super hyped to see Perrin go.
He's gonna kill
ballistic.
everybody.
I still hope he does. I hope once they like figure out a plan to get her safely back, then he just
everyone.
Rages on everyone. Because I really just because he is one of the ones that's like the most like methodical, and like he like really thinks things through. Like he has so many more like monologues than like outspoken dialogues, because he really does, like, he's a thinker, you know what I mean? Like he's very soft spoken and he thinks things through, unlike Matt and Rand, who are a little more rash when it comes to things. And so I was really excited to see that kind of coin flip and him just just throw it all out the window and be like, you took my wife, I have to kill everyone now.
Because he's the good one, so
Yeah.
he has to rage ultra hard.
Exactly, and I was so excited for that. I hope it still happens. I hope he can rage enough that it's like it's satisfying, but he doesn't lose himself in it. But we'll see how that goes. But I want that to happen, so I hope that happens. There's thoughts?
That's what the second Name of the Wind book is named after. The second Name of the Wind book is Wise Man's Fear, and the line is, wise men fear two things, a storm at night and the wrath of a good man. Something along those lines. I'm sure I butchered that, but that's close enough.
One day I'll read
and
those
then
books.
Perrin is the good man, and he's gonna rage.
I want
3
the
books
rage.
from now.
I want the rage.
Someday he's gonna get to rage.
I do love Perrin so much.
What happened was, after book 2, which actually kind of worked, where the actual main character wasn't in it, and they were like, hey, Robert Jordan, you wrote a book, and the main character wasn't in it. That was cool. You did a neat thing. He was like, I'm gonna try that again.
And
it
again.
didn't work at all. And then he said, no, I'm gonna try this again and again. Because we've now had 3 books,
Yeah.
2 of which didn't have Perrin, and 1 of which didn't have Matt.
And one of the most recent one that didn't have Perrin, or didn't have Matt, also didn't have Egwene in it. It had her
Yeah.
in one sequence, like a dream sequence where she was talking to Elaine and I.
But those, like, I
that's it.
can kind of explain it away more in 8 and 9, because those were basically the same book. Like, planning it out, and then he was like, no, actually, we'll just split it into 2 books and have this one be a Matt book and this one be a Perrin book, and see how that goes.
I wouldn't mind it as much if there was actually more stuff happening. But it feels like most of these times when like these characters are split up, we're just playing catch up each time we come back to a character.
That's all book 10 was.
Book 10,
10 was a clip show.
Everybody reacting to what happened at the end of
book
the
9.
last book, yeah.
And they keep,
which was the cleansing of the swords.
keeps like playing it on you like he's a brilliant man. It's like, they don't tell you outright that time hasn't moved forward. It's instead, you get the first scenes you've seen with these characters in 2 books, and you're like, oh, this is neat. And then they see the thing that happened at the end of the prior book, and you're like, oh my god, time hasn't moved forward at all. That's cool. And then he does it 4 more times throughout the book.
Yeah.
It's like, let's see what these characters are up to. Oh, okay, the plot is progressing. Nope, never mind. There's the end of book 9 again.
Yeah.
It just shows up over and over again.
It's really excessive. Like, I get, like, obviously you have to show all these people reacting to this thing because, like, everybody in the world who can do magic felt it. So, like, you have to address that. But it was just so much. Like, that's all any of the point of views were. That was the whole thing.
75% of the way through book 10, you're still flashing back to the end of book 9.
Yeah, and it was just like, this is a lot. It feels like we're complaining a lot. We do like the series so far. We do like them.
We just want things to happen in the books.
We want a little more,
we want
like,
the characters
progression
to
of plot.
see each other.
Yeah.
It's really weird to have a universe where 90% of the main characters can teleport at whim and they never see each other at all.
Yeah.
They make up all these bizarre teenage reasons for it, but
yeah.
I'm like, I can just teleport whenever I feel like, but I can't go see those people and ask what the hell is going on.
I know.
And I definitely can't go home and see my dad.
Been waiting a decade for him to see Tam. I swear.
I don't think he's even been in a book since like book 5.
No, not since Perrin took over the town and made them all warriors.
Yeah.
They were good Perrin times. Like, Perrin was at the forefront.
He got
was doing
married and
stuff.
they built him a castle and he killed a bunch of Trollocs, which we haven't seen a Trolloc for like 4 books.
I know.
I think they still exist, but
Probably.
they talk about them a lot, but they don't show up so much
Oh yeah, like
anymore.
Rand was just talking about like trying to close off all the
You know, the Waygates.
Waygates because of the Trollocs and Mydrals and
That's
stuff.
Loyal's problem. That's why Loyal wasn't in the last
Oh yeah,
6 books.
that's why Loyal suddenly has come back now because the Waygates matter again.
Loyal is basically just Hagrid. But if,
I
you know,
love Loyal.
if Hagrid wasn't in 5 books,
I love Loyal. Listen.
send him off on a side quest. Well, what was that? Was that Order of the Phoenix where Hagrid is on a side quest?
Yeah.
Side quest.
Yeah.
It takes it because
I
he's
know.
a
He's
giant
just a
teddy bear
soft
man.
teddy bear. He's so loving and sweet, and he loves to read. He just wants to write the story.
Wants to
Let
not
him
go
write the
home and get
story.
married because then he'll be on lockdown.
I know, right? But he clearly wants to marry her, which is really cute.
It's adorable.
You're
His
adorable.
mom is very, very in charge of everyone.
Yeah. It's
He has a very important mom.
yeah. He's scared of his mom, which is also kind of cute.
She hunted his ass down
She did.
in the middle of like the world ending.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go find that bitch.
Also, it's taking a really long time for the world to end, by the
Yes.
way.
The world has almost ended like 3 different times.
Yeah. So much build up to it. It better be a good payoff, is all I'm
They don't
saying.
like knocking off any Forsaken anymore. They're just kind of
Yeah.
doing whatever. And sometimes they get brought back to life. So the ones that we killed already didn't really matter.
Yeah, like
And sometimes they gender swap,
support that.
but they still
Not
have the
Forsaken.
other gender's magic, which is odd, and that's confusing the hell out of everyone right now.
Yeah, which is actually kind of interesting.
That-
I do like that.
Little Miss Headrub keeps killing people with
Is it Halima? I think
yeah,
her name is.
Halima
Yeah.
keeps killing people with male magic, and nobody understands what's
Yeah.
happening. They're like,
What's
oh my
happening?
god, there must have been an evil man who showed up in the night. She's like, I know.
Do you need
What's
a
happening?
Headrub?
Who needs a head rub?
I got magic fingers. That scene when she was like, you know, maybe, do you need me? And Egwene's like, no, I got stuff to do. And then she's like, suddenly her head starts hurting and she's like, maybe I shouldn't send her away. And I was like, connect the dots, bitch.
She's so busy with all her important things. And now she's kidnapped. So
now she's kidnapped,
none of that
so I don't know
mattered.
what's going to happen there. Yeah. Also, I keep waiting for this battle between the different groups of the Aes Sedai, like the Battle of the White Tower.
Yeah,
like that's
happened.
been built up for like 4 books now.
Prologue of each book.
Oh yeah, the prologues are fucking long.
Prologues are about 180 pages
They're
each.
long. It's a listen.
Which we looked, and it said that he originally released them online before the releases of the books, which was
makes
like
sense.
early 2000s, so I'm sure that was very cool at the time.
Yeah.
And it's usually like background rando characters that you've never heard of and will never seen again, just like their take on what's happening.
Yeah,
which kind of makes sense as a novella, but weird as a prologue.
Yeah, it's weird as a prologue, and like sometimes it's so hard to like be interested when you're starting a new book and it's all these like people you don't know or people you're supposed to remember from like 8 books ago, and I'm like, I don't know who this bitch is because everybody's fucking names sound the same.
Yeah, there's 8,000 Aes Sedai and they all have very similar names.
Listen, it's my biggest.
Don't care about any of them.
My biggest beef with this entire series.
Like even right now, there's that group of like 12 of them in the tower that are kind of slowly figuring out that the Black is in charge and also supposed to be working for the current Amirlan to find what else was going on. I couldn't name any of those characters. I know it's a thing.
No.
I know there's
And I
like
have a good memory.
15 of them doing this, and it's supposed to be a big plot point, and they actually made some progression in the prior book. I don't know who any of those people are.
No. Like
Oathrod to make the people they discover basically bend to their will, and then the final chapter of the prior book was called What the Oathrod Can Do, so I thought we were going to get some progression.
yeah, it had nothing to do with the fucking
any of that.
Oathrod.
Didn't come up at all. I was like, oh, are they going to like go in and steal it, and
Yeah,
are
that was
those ladies in the tower going to do something cool?
one of the
No.
few times I paid attention to the goddamn chapter title and it did not pay well.
I always look at the chapter titles and I'm like, oh cool, that sounds important. No,
Yeah.
I don't think the word Oathrod was in that entire chapter, except in the title.
I don't know if it was, yeah. And if it was, it wasn't actually about what the Oathrod could do.
Yeah, no, it didn't make any sense at all.
No. My biggest peeve with this whole series is it's such a vast fantasy series that of course you're gonna have just buckets and buckets of side characters who come and go on the page. But to have them all have names that are spelled and look similar on page, literally in a single sentence, I mean, I literally almost like threw the book. In a single sentence, 2 different names came up that were like 1 letter off of spelling. And I'm like, I'm not gonna know who these bitches are. I don't care. And I want to set the book on fire right now.
In the same context too. Like they could just be one person.
Yeah.
The stuff that should be important, but there's just so much going on that you just forget. Like the really moody one that's hanging out with Elaine right now, whose sister just got murdered, and they don't know who did it, and she's still there in the castle somewhere. Every time that character shows up, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, her sister got murdered. I forgot because 8,000 unrelated things are going on.
Yeah.
Like her sister got murdered, and there's a spy in the castle who murdered her, and we're just like, we'll figure that out eventually.
Yeah.
It's really getting resolved.
Oh,
we have like 3 battles on the verge of happening for 2 books. It's a cat.
This is Jazzy?
She was up there. Now
She
she's
was-
not up there.
She likes, that's one of the things that's like,
I got my daddy bam.
it's frustrating. Like I realize most of our thoughts here are complaints and like things that we don't like. Winner?
Give me the Jazzy bam.
But the thing is, like it's such a big fantasy series. It's so vast, and like the world and like the cultures and the races, I love all of that so much. Like the detail put in, Robert Jordan is a master. Hello.
Master of describing dresses.
The details. The descriptions of clothing are excessive. Like the way J.R.R. Tolkien describes landscapes is the way Robert Jordan describes clothing. And like I get it, in some scenes clothing can be an important thing to describe. And you want to describe your setting regardless, but like it's a bit excessive sometimes, so I'm gonna say. Just a little bit.
I think I said if you made like a word cloud of all the words in these books, of like the most frequent ones, I'm pretty sure the #1 word of the entire series would be embroidery.
Yes, embroidery.
Everything's embroidered. It has fine embroidery.
Everything's embroidered. But we do like the series. Obviously, I mean, we've read 10 books. I think we would have given up by now if we didn't like it. There's a lot to like, but there's also just so many things that are frustrating with it. One of my favorite aspects, I think, of the series is like the detail to like the different cultures and the different races and the different like countries, because those are fleshed out really, really well, and it does feel like a very real world with real people. This thing that happened in like the whole series so far, the cleansing of the source, right? And there's like nothing, no outcome of that as far as like what, like Rand having done that in 90. Like I assumed that like he would have like physical, some sort of something, or like meant like something would have had like everybody in the fucking world felt that, right? Like it was such a big thing, and like 90 passed out before it was even done, right? So like I assumed that like physically like Rand would like be like, I assumed he was gonna be like in a coma or something, or like there was gonna be some sort of physical repercussion for using that much power to cleanse the source between both him and Nynaeve. And like even after the fact, even that didn't happen, that's fine. But like they're not even talking about it. They're not even like, oh, like I did this thing, and now what? You know what I mean?
They just don't believe him. I think that's the thing. I think they're being super weird about it because they don't necessarily
But I mean,
believe
like,
it.
I mean also from like Rand's point of view, not even like other people.
Well, he was mostly concerned that he still has a crazy guy in his head. I think he was convinced that that was going to go away.
Yeah, I don't know.
And also, I think he said he could still feel the stab wound from Shadar
Oh yeah, because
Logoth,
like he's
even though
like
it's
hoping
gone.
one of them's gonna heal.
He's like, if I blow up this whole city, maybe it'll go away. He was wrong.
I got a point of view from Nynaeve after that, and I was expecting one because like, I don't know, it was disappointing. I wanted a follow through after this big event happens and the two people who are involved with making it happen.
We've only got like 4 books left, and we have to. There's like 3 battles we have to resolve, and then have time for a build-up to actual final battles and resolution for final battles. So I gotta hope that this book's gonna have at least one of the two of either the fight at the tower or Perrin berserking everyone. I gotta assume at least one of those two will happen. There goes some books.
Fine. Yeah, this is the next one we're reading, Knife of Dreams, book 11.
Assume that's not a real thing. Assume there's no Knife of Dreams.
There's no Knife of Dreams. The cover does look promising. There's
He's
a whole lot
got
going
his
on.
fire sword going on.
Yeah. I assume that's Min.
Probably.
Curly hair.
Yeah.
It's not how I picture her, but they always talk about her ringlets.
He's got his crown on.
Crown.
He's fighting what looks like a Meerdrow, maybe? Or maybe...
I'm not sure.
Could be one of those... what's the monster that's hunting Matt?
This is the cover.
What's that thing? What's the thing that's hunting Matt?
Oh, like the golem?
Yeah, Gollum.
The golem.
Golan.
Whatever. If you're a Wheel of Time fan, you're watching this video. I'm sorry for how many times we have butchered the pronunciations, but you know what? We will say them how we feel. This is, I think, the last one that's written by Robert Jordan.
The other one is half and half. The book 12 is as co-written by Jordan Sanderson, and then 13 and 14 are just Sanderson.
Yeah. This is our last full Jordan book. I'm excited, because we're supposed to be at the slog now.
Cat. Why is that cat attacking the doorknob?
Oh.
He's gonna figure out how to open doorknobs, and then we're screwed.
Oh, that'll be bad.
Yep.
Chain locks on the outside doors.
No, that'll look spooky. Nobody will want to hang out with us.
Nobody wants to hang out with us anyways.
That's true.
We're in the middle of a pandemic. We don't have friends.
Casey doesn't want to hang out with us.
Casey, fuck you.
Yay.
Maureen's gonna come back.
I'm sure she
And
will at some
I'm
point.
still
She's
not-
still super not dead. She's gonna be in that tower, remember? So when Perrin was in the wolf dream, he saw a tower, and this was like 6 books ago.
That was like book 3.
He was in the wolf dream, and he was hanging out with Stepper, or no, Stepper's his horse.
Hopper.
Hopper, his dead wolf friend,
Yeah.
because that's a thing he
I
has.
love Hopper!
Hanging out with his dead wolf friend, and there was a tower, and he said, it wasn't Hopper. Hopper flew away because he can fly. And then I think it was Brigitte, or however the hell you pronounce
I
her
say
name.
Bridget, but I don't know if that's right.
I think it was
it's
her, because it was like a woman with gold hair
Yeah, it
and
was her.
weird pants.
It
And they
was
always
her.
say that she has weird pants.
It was her, because she was still in the
She
dream
showed
at that
up
point.
and said, don't go in there. And I think she specifically said something about the Aelfin and the Eelfin. And then she disappeared. That tower is clearly connected to their realms.
Oh,
She
I
said
don't
something
remember.
about like, don't go in the tower, that's where the Aelfin and the Eelfin dwell, and
I
then
don't remember
fucking
that.
disappeared.
Well, I know she's coming back. There's no way
Yes.
she's not coming
She's
back, right?
the most not dead anyone has ever not been
Yeah.
dead. Probably be evil or something.
I was convinced that she was like gonna come back. I don't know how she was gonna come back, but I was convinced that maybe she wouldn't like have her memory, like she wouldn't know who she was. And
The Aelfin and the Eelfin are going to be a really big deal, and we've just been ignoring it.
There's
for
only
6
4 books left!
I know!
Ah!
We have to figure out, so first we gotta figure out all the Staunch crap, which I don't know what's gonna happen there. I kind of assume Matt's girlfriend will become queen, and then they'll be friends.
The thing, one of my opinions about that is like, obviously it's supposed to be such a big deal when like you meet her and it's like, oh, she's the daughter of the 9 moons. And that's great and all, but I wish we had seen her on page for like a couple of chapters at least before that had happened, so I could have been like, oh shit! No build up
I
to
thought
it.
it
You
was
don't get to
gonna
know her
be-
character and then find out.
I thought it was gonna be the Sean Chan that's in the Traveling Bazaar. I thought it was gonna be her. The
Yeah.
one that the one that all the girls hung out with for like 2 whole books. Because she was the first one who said Daughter of the 9
Is
Moons.
it-
She mentioned it to them,
Yeah.
or like used it as like an exclamation.
Yeah.
She was like, by the Daughter of the 9 Moons, or something goofy
Yeah.
like that.
Eganin
I
or
thought,
something like that?
yeah, Eganin.
I don't know how to say it. The names
I
are
thought
spelled
there was gonna
weird.
be some weirdness where like maybe she was like a distant royal and like a bunch of people were gonna die, and then she would by her
that would've
hereditary,
been
she would
interesting.
become Daughter of the 9 Moons, and that would be a connection back to a character we already know.
Yeah.
Even when we first saw the current one arrive in the town, I still thought that was gonna happen. Yeah, Tuon?
Tuon, that's how I say it.
I thought like, oh, I thought this is a misdirection. Like they're gonna show us a different one and say this is the Daughter of the Nine Moons, but I thought it would just be like a title. Like she's like princess.
That would have been more
Which she is, a princess, but I thought it was like a
yeah.
title that gets handed down. And then I thought something was gonna happen to her because she seemed kind of horrible at first, but she seems slightly better now.
Yeah. I like when like Matt was like, how old are you?
Yeah.
I have to marry you, are you a child? And she was like, I'm 14. And then she's like, no, wait a minute, you guys get named twice. I'm 20 or something like that.
Yeah, he freaked out there.
He was like, oh God, I'm gonna marry a child.
Oh shit, what have I done?
And she called him out and she was like, did you think you kidnapped a little girl? I do like her. She's sassy. But yeah, I just wish we had like gotten to know her character a little bit before that was like a reveal, so I could actually been like, oh shit, like this person that we've been introduced to and have been getting to know.
Have we done all his stuff yet? Like I always have to. I went back and looked a few times.
His different prophecy things.
His
from
prophecy
the,
nonsense,
yeah.
yes, because he was supposed to die and be born again.
Yeah.
And he thinks that has already happened. Like he had that conversation with himself last book. He was
Yeah,
like,
he
I'm
thinks
pretty
it's
sure
already-
I already died.
Because I think he's counting like when he
The
like
Shadar
came
Logoth
out.
dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's counting that.
Yeah.
But then he has to like give up half the light of the world or something to save the world.
Yeah, that's obviously.
That's ominous.
That's coming.
And there's still like literally like very incredibly important plot points that you just don't think about because so much shit is going on. Like the Horn of Valyr is still out there somewhere. It's like the most
horn.
important item in the entire book, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's a
The
thing.
fucking horn.
Like you just didn't think about it for 9 books, even though it's the most important item in the entire world.
Yeah, there's like so many plot points that still have to
Stuff
come to a
has
close.
to get resolved.
And I mean,
I've
don't
heard
know how
people
it's
say
going.
like on like the Stormlight boards that like the final book is like just the end of a Sanderson novel the entire time. It's like the Sanderson avalanche for an entire book. Memory of Light is the last one.
Yeah, Memory of Light. Yeah.
Because there's like so many like I can't even think of like a good analogy. Like every fantasy series has like these very important like relics that are like incredibly relevant to the story, like the Elder Wand or something. But there's like 40 of them in this series. It's like we just forgot that the Horn of Valyr was a thing for 9 books, just because like, oh yeah, that's a thing. And it's just in the basement of the tower somewhere, as far as we know. It hasn't been mentioned in like 6 books. Like, I think like 6 books ago, somebody went, man, I hope the evil Aes Sedai haven't found the horn yet, and then nobody ever mentioned it again.
Yeah.
There's a lot that they have to get sorted out. Like it has the feel like luckily we know that it ends well because we have other people out there with opinions who can say, hey, Wheel of Time's a good series, the last few books are really good. But like it has the exact same feeling when you're in the middle of it as TV show. What the hell? My brain went blank.
What TV show?
The TV show.
What TV show are you talking about?
With the dragons. Better edit this out.
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones. Like, oh my god, there's so many plot threads out there. Like, how are we going to resolve all these plot threads? And the answer was, oh, they just won't. They just won't do that. When we were on, like, season 7 of Game of Thrones, we're like, oh my god, there's so much stuff happening. It's all so cool. It's all up in the air. And it was like, they just vomited out an ending. And you're like, well, that all was terrible.
Yeah.
But luckily, we know there's a real ending to this series.
Yeah.
We got the Aelfin and the Eelfin in the Dreamland. And there's still, like, multiple dimensions from when... Remember when they did that whole travel skipping thing between the stone? Like, that's never been mentioned again.
I know, it's been a long time since they did that.
And they,
that
like,
was weird.
They like jumped into a parallel universe where the Sanchan had already conquered everything.
Yeah.
And then there's the Horn of Valyr, there's the final battle, there's the fight at the tower, there's the Black Aes Sedai, there's everything.
Elaine's fight for her throne. Like, there's so many plot lines going on right now that are like big points that all have to wrap up one way or another.
Like I said, like
also, Elaine's pregnant with like twins.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But everybody knows already because we have a psychic with us.
Yeah. Oh.
Min just doesn't have superpowers, so they made her psychic, I guess.
Oh, can we just go back to the beginning of the series? I remember when we were reading, you were like 2 pages ahead of me and you just started laughing. And I was like, what's so funny? And you were like, this is not how people become friends.
Yeah.
At the tower when like Elaine and Nynaeve and Min all just like, and are going.
They were having like a pillow fight, basically.
Yeah, they like all just kind of like come together and they're like, we're friends now. Oh my god, we're gonna be best friends.
And they were just like girls at school having a pillow fight in the middle of the night, and they're friends now.
Like they'd all just like met each other once with like Min and Elaine had like.
Like I don't know how old Robert Jordan was when he wrote that book, but it felt like what an old white guy would think girls do at school.
It's like
where
we're
they
best
go,
friends.
oh my god, I like your hair, and then they're friends forever.
Like that's literally the scene.
Girls from literally the middle of nowhere and the princess of the richest town in the world. They're like, let's be friends forever, and then they were, and here we are 9 books later.
Yeah, and now they share a man. That's a whole plot thing. I don't hate it. I just think it's done weirdly.
It's very weird.
Yeah, because like obviously like with like the ale, it's like that's part of their culture and stuff, and like I get that I'm fine with that. But like the way that they just take Rand and they sit him down and like they're like
Explain to him.
They explain it to him, like they don't really give him a choice. They're like, you're gonna be with all three of us, and also you two leave so we can fuck.
We're all gonna get married, and also we're gonna have a weird sister bonding ritual that
Oh
one
my
of you's
God.
not invited to.
The sister
I don't know if
bonding
they're ever gonna do that with
ritual.
men or not. Like, are they gonna invite her to be sisters?
I don't know. Like
I don't call them sister wives because
Sister
they're not
wives.
actually Mormon, but first sisters.
yeah, that's what it is, first sisters. Yeah, but also that ritual was fucking wild.
Pretty bizarre.
They literally like got
It's like a
rebirthed.
circle of old ladies gave birth to grown adults
It was fucking
by
wild.
making them like hallucinate ultra hard.
I forgot about that scene. I wanted to read it to Casey. I wanted to
Pretty
like do a
hardcore.
dramatic reading of that scene to Casey one day on Skype because it was
It's
wild.
a very long scene. That'd be a very long dramatic reading.
Oh, Casey would love it.
Casey loves the birthing. But there's one thing I know about Casey, it's that she loves birthing. And like the fucking phrase, like the age of illusion, it's like, oh my god, is this shit all fake? And like, is there like a different level of reality we have to go to? Is this all
God,
made
that's
up? Are we in like a
exhausting.
time loop? Because like, it made me think about that because like they always describe like the wheel of time as like having no beginning or end and it just
Yeah.
repeats and they're like, oh well this age and then by the time that age occurs again, they use all this weird time phrasing that makes me think, oh my
Yeah.
god, what if they're just in like a weird magic time loop and none of this actually happened?
Oh my god. That would be such a bad ending.
That would be pretty weird.
I don't want that to happen.
It leads towards there being some other reality, like especially even with the Aelfin and the Eelfin, they seem important.
They do seem important.
Just never bumped into this tower? Do they know about it? Do they know way more about it? Can someone ask them, please? Because there's a spooky tower full of fox and snake people that eat emotion. We should probably look into that.
Yeah.
Perrin didn't ask any questions because he's Perrin. He was like, oh, okay, scary tower, bye.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Because
don't...
he was just trying to kill what's-his-face in that dream. He was hunting him at that time when he
Oh
talked to
yeah, what
Bridget.
happened to that guy?
He came back recently, remember?
Because yeah, he was like that guy who showed up, he claimed to be a hunter for the horn, everybody loved him.
Yeah, he
Perrin
just
knew
came
there was
back.
something off. Did he?
Yeah, he came in like the prologue maybe? He was like killing someone in like a inn?
What? It's been so long that I didn't
I know.
remember his name, so maybe I was supposed to recognize
It starts
as-
with an L, I think.
I did not even recognize that was supposed to be the same guy.
I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong. I could have just read the name, like the names, man, I'm
I
telling
think it
you.
starts with an L.
I think it starts with an L. Anyways, we figured out it was Luke, the character we
name
were
is
looking
Luke.
for, and he did come back. I was right.
He's spooky.
He's
We
spooky.
know that he's spooky.
Yes. Okay, so we've rambled on enough. I'm sure we have plenty more thoughts, but we're gonna save them till when we finish the series, and we will come back at you with our full opinions of the finished product and see if we are disappointed or pleased with how this thing gets wrapped up.
Oh man.
Are you excited?
I mean, that'll be next February.
No, I think we'll finish it this year. Probably soon too. We only have 4 left.
To go down.
Shit has to go down, and I am excited for the shit to go down. Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts to say to the people?
No, and I don't even have a cat to hold up.
Well, thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know in the comments down below if you guys are reading Wheel of Time. Have you read it before? Are you planning to read it at any point? It is pretty much like a staple of fantasy. And so I'm glad that we're finally reading it. And it was really interesting to see like all of the influence that modern fantasy has taken from this series now that I'm going back and reading it. It's really interesting to see. Like I've seen a lot of things that like Sanderson has pulled from this series alone, and like other fantasy writers that I like that have clearly taken influence from Robert Jordan. So that's been really cool to see that. And yeah. Well, that's that. Life before death, Radiance. You say it? Say the outro?
Is that your catchphrase?
That's the outro. Life before death, Radiance.
I'm not officially here.
Yes, you are.
Is that what I'm doing?
Say life before death, Radiance.
Life before death, Radiance. I got a kiss.
You're cute.
You made me be cute. It was a requirement.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys.
I want that.